Many of the sessions over the next 2 days are focused on sharing ideas for solutions and what folks are already building. So I encourage you to put everything on the table and imagining the future with us. While it's early days for brand integrations with our glasses, the potential here for people is exciting. We believe the future of technology is about more than just what's possible. It's about what's meaningful to each of us in different ways. We're at a moment where style, function, and personal experience are converging, and where technology can help us connect, create, and thrive in ways we've never seen before. To reiterate, our vision is to bring personal superintelligence to everyone. We believe in putting this power in people's hands to direct it towards what they value in their own lives. So my question for all of you that I want you to explore today and tomorrow is, what do you value? And what can you or others build that helps you achieve what you value? Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, music, transition. No, we are more than welcome to take 10 minutes of Q&As for anyone that may have a question. Any questions in regard? My friends, right here.
Well, I guess I got the big question in the room. Where's our pair
Aaron, you want to take that one?
Ooh, tough one. Well, you are an AI glass recipient, and so let me know which model you're looking forward to, and I can help guide you to a website. But yes, there's a store here in New York as well, one of our pop-up stores, and so happy to bring you there.
Okay. No, but my main question was, as being a recipient of the Meta grant, is there any way that since we're part of the innovation of this, are we going to get any type of discount when it comes to buying in bulk? Because
it's something that we can look at for sure in connection with our sales team and explore.
thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question here. First, you've done amazing. Yeah, and you look amazing too. You said about the toolkit assist with what's gonna work with AI glasses to help us for what we do. Because that's mean also I still need a developer that will work with me, or anyone in this company can be able to modify what's gonna work with the glasses to fit the job we're doing.
So the vision is to make it easier and easier for anyone to be able to create integrations with the glasses. Connor's going to share details about that later, but it'll depend on your abilities at the moment, and there are plenty of people in this room that can help you develop your vision.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and we have a lot of folks on partner engineering as well who will be here today and tomorrow as well. So if you have any technical questions with the device access toolkit, they're more than happy to answer those. Some of the engineers are here.
Thank you.
You can raise your hand. Oh, one in the back, hello. There you go. So,
Raise your hand, I can see.
there you
Got it,
go.
brother.
We have 2 or 3 engineers who can help answer those questions for beside you. And please state your name and your organization.
Oh.
Thank you. Allison Burdett with Braille Institute of America, and I'm really excited about the in-screen, like heads-up display type experience. Will there be audio description built into the information that's being shown in Lens?
You're talking about a screen reader functionality?
Essentially, but maybe even beyond that, to get, if it's, for example, showing a video or an album cover like was in the video, will it be describing more aspects of what's in Lens?
Yes, that is the plan, to be able to have screen reader functionality within the Lens itself.
That's awesome, thanks.
Oh, Wayne, there.
Oh, sorry, Wayne.
So I love all the things that were brought forward. It's Wayne Hengel from the CNIB up in Canada, so there you go there. There's our plug about Canada. But as we look at the future and also the evolution in bringing the AI to everyone, one of the challenges that we are hearing more and more about is how the support for those that have gotten on board continues, right? And so that service and support journey, I think, is something that we shouldn't underestimate as we go forward, so that individuals, I'm a generation 1 user here and I'm going, ooh, I really maybe want the new ones, but then if I bought something and then it stops working, then how do I get into the right support structure? So I think that may be something that we can take away and work on, but I think we shouldn't lose sight of it.
Yeah, thanks for that comment. And if you do have specific ideas or feedback on how to make that smoother, please let me know.
I'm being very biased. I'm selecting folks from the middle. I'm going to move to this side here. There are a few questions right in the front, right over here, and then right one in the back.
So thank you. Looks very good. Most of the Meta emphasis has been on the consumer. Now, enterprise. I know they look great, but the question is, and you said you're going to have a lot of more offerings of different classes. What is the enterprise going to be looking at?
We're working on enterprise. An example is our glasses right now. The lenses are not rated for being able to take them to construction sites or to do things like that. My husband's an electrical engineer, and so they also need to be able to handle electrical charges in a certain way in that environment. And those are some of the problems that we're trying to solve to allow these to be used in enterprise context.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Vincent from Bettersgy. You had a slide with kind of timeline, camera, display, AR. When is AR coming?
Always. Some would argue it's here today. If you want a good sci-fi book recommendation, Rainbow's End by Werner Vinge imagines a future of like contact lenses that put displays on your, basically your field of view, and that's what the displays do today. So it kind of depends on what your definition of augmented reality is. Another thing is our VR headset line also had capabilities like pass-through for a really long time. Being able to superimpose mixed reality onto what you're seeing is another version of that future.
Gwen in the back.
And I think I always benefit learning from policy and then RL policy, what your biggest goals are, just in the next 12 months. What can you share with us when it comes to like the 2 or 3 things you are most excited to be prioritizing?
3 things. One of them is why we're here today, and that is value. So figuring out what the best use cases are, figuring out how to amplify those use cases so that more people understand and get their hands on the technology. The second one I will say is privacy. It is very important that people understand what we're trying to do, what the light here means when you take a picture, when you take video, and that people are comfortable being around this technology. The third thing is responsible use. So it's very important that people are using the technology in ways that are compliant with laws and also with social norms, and that evolves over time. So having serious conversations with the community about how those social norms evolve, whose role it is to help make sure people use these devices responsibly, and give you a hint, it's a very layered set of roles. We play a role, governments play a role, schools, if you're in a school setting, other institutions, and individuals, importantly, play a role in both making this technology socially accepted, but also in making sure they use it in ways that aren't going to foreclose the opportunity for other individuals.
Right over here.
Hey, it's Wade with Click Games. So the story you told about capturing a moment with your kid, I love that. Has there been much thought in how younger audiences can interact with this, like parental controls and guidance? Because I could see a lot of use cases.
Love that question. This is actually the project I've personally been working on the most, is figuring out what parental controls look like for this new interface. It has to be different because it isn't one-to-one with a screen or the other technologies that parental controls are usually applied to. So social media or anything with like a time limit. So if you have thoughts on what that should look like for wearables, for AI glasses, please come talk to me because we're in active development on that front.
Right there.
Hey, this is Victor from Our Life Labs, and I am very curious as to your Disneyland example of when you had more proactive features with Meta AI Assistant saying, hey, the wait time for a certain ride is sure. Or, hey, this specific artist is around the Bay Area that you can visit. Can you tell us more about how that proactive sensing is coming to the Meta glasses?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure if that's proactive sensing or if it's just the details that were fed into the app experience. So in other words, it has the information at its fingertips that are relevant to the park. So it's more able to recognize a ride because it has that definition on the back end.
And I will caveat with that example, we have some folks in this room who built use cases in cultural institutions who may be able to speak to that, so we'll definitely connect you. Right behind you.
Hi, thank you for this. I'm Gabby from 11 Labs, and I'd love to learn more about the Be My Eyes partnership. Is that just based in the US? Where does that kind of work end and sort of AI audio description begin? Is it multilingual? I'd just love to learn more about that partnership.
Great. I think folks Marilyn or Matt Sanders are best at describing those details in depth.
It is a global partnership, so it's in many, many countries. I can't name the entire list, but definitely can share that with you. And so folks have been able to access the Be My Eyes program just all over the world. But we can share that list. One over here.
Hi, Alejandra Gonzalez with Eastern Seals Greater Houston. I had read an article where they were talking about Meta potentially moving to a subscription model for some of these additional features. Can you shed some light on that? I'm coming from the perspective, I work a lot with clients with disabilities who are also low income. So having to explain to them the shift to a subscription model when they've already spent $200 to $300 on a pair of Gen 2s or $800 for the display, and then also having to budget for a subscription-based features for that.
It is a really good call out, and we're working closely with the community to get this right in particular. So for example, we noted that we were going to put conversation focus, which is for general users, but helps people in scenarios where they may not have good hearing or they may have trouble focusing on somebody. And so that feature in and of itself was in early access. We were going to move it to a subscription. The community noted that it was used in ways that we did not understand by people who needed it in ways that we didn't appreciate. And so in hearing that feedback, we have paused putting that in the subscription for now and are figuring out the best way to move forward. That might look like a one-time fee, but I think what's important is there's going to be a set of premium features, and we're still figuring out what those are. So if you have ideas or feedback on what should go in premium, what should be free, how it should be free, whether or not, for example, there's a certain set of time, minutes, for example, for a service that are free, and then it's not after that. All of those things are up for discussion.
Thank you. And feedback is always important. That's why we're here. That's why we're having the community summit, to hear from you and our products. Right over here. David.
I was in San Francisco 2 days ago with an ER doctor, and we were talking about the glasses. And he said, man, I would love it if you could put the glasses on the EMT in the back of the ambulance, because I'd love to see the gunshot 15 minutes before you get to the ER. Mm-hmm. And I'm at Wharton with a bunch of doctors in my class, an old guy at school, and the doctors all want to do collaborative surgery. And my daughter has a kid, falls down in the front yard, and the bone is sticking out of the forearm. Would you like to be able to have the glasses and show the people and have them help you? Is there a medical emphasis? Because I think that's the quickest, the healthiest use case. And elderly, be my eyes, be my friend, tell me which button to reset my computer, which my 81-year-old mom is doing right now. But my point to all this is twofold. One is this healthcare piece where you can be my expert, these remote experts to help people is the quickest win. And the other is, if you go to premium features, just make sure that for these emergency cases, which I hope you're going to work into the game, they can at least have 10 minutes of free premium to try to save somebody's life.
I hear you on that, and those are some amazing use cases, some of which I haven't thought of before, so thank you for sharing. Health is a vertical that we're focused on in our AI efforts across the company, making those responses more natural, making them clinically correct. Koi in the back of the room has more details, and so I hope you guys can connect on that. She's waving, she's over there. But yeah, that's a valid and extremely good point.
Just to flag as well, there are a lot of developers in this room who are building with a healthcare use case as well. So looking forward to connecting you with them, David. All the way in the back.
Is there development, someone mentioned Be My Expert, where there was an actual instructor that taught mobility for someone with newly onset of blindness, let's say, so I can access that expert and provide instructions via the glasses? And secondly, is that integrated with VR so that, let's say there's actual obstacles, I'm at the airport, it's busy, and it'd be nice to have audio provide me that someone's in my way, there's an obstacle, and the cane can guide me around those obstacles.
And for the latter use case you mentioned, there is a partnership with, it's called HumanWare, that allows you to navigate the world in that way. Those are amazing use cases, and I want to see them everywhere. I think the important point to note is AI devices is the future. And so even for our VR lineup, there's going to be AI-powered input. So the ability to talk to an AI more naturally and tell it what you need and what to do. So in that way, the AI assistant or expert is on your device with you.
There's one question over here, and then we'll move to the end.
So this is Nathaniel from Revive XR.
Hello.
I'm also a high school teacher. I teach AB biology and environmental sciences. And one of the biggest challenges we face in schools is cheating. Kids are very innovative, trust me. They find all kinds of ways to get around. And so one of the big concerns we have now is with AI classes, what else will kids figure out to cheat their way in? Do you have any control ideas?
Yeah, so I mentioned that governance is layered. This is a perfect example. There are settings in which it may not make sense to have this capability. We think it's important that in a school setting, there's rules about this, but those rules should be set by the institution and by folks like yourself that have teaching experience.
Hi, my name is Hassan. I'm at Oversight. My question's about policy. And as we move towards enterprise, it gets bigger and badder. I work in construction. We just spoke about the medical use case. I'm curious about the framework Meta is thinking in a few lines if you just give it to us, of how worker consent will be handled, how data privacy will be handled with ownership moving forward as you guys go through the enterprise space.
So 3 huge topics. I don't know all of them in detail, but I can talk about data privacy. So I think the important part there is we have done this before. We have gone into enterprise with Quest, and there's a lot of compliance barriers to cross when it comes to handling data for companies. And the important part there is that we make sure there's a way for those companies to manage and control access to the device itself, but also to the data, because that is not ours to analyze or hold.
Okay, thank you, and we will now transition. Situations, but thank you for clicking to the next slide. Oh, I'll walk on. Koi, where are you? There you are. Go on the ladder, walk on music. Joining me is Koi and Dan. Dan will be dialing all the way from San Francisco. He's woken up very early to talk to us about fitness AI and how Meta is thinking about health and active living with our AI glasses. So please join me in welcoming Koi. Koi, slow walk. And we'll grab your mic as well. Man, these mics have lights and they just run off. Thank you so much.
Is it on?
Here we go.
It's on. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, my name is Koi Miller. I'm a manager in the Reality Labs policy group, and I am wearing a cream pantsuit and glasses. I have dark hair. We are talking about fitness today, but before you start to get nervous and think about what you had for breakfast, this morning, just know that we are going to talk about how we can approach fitness differently. For decades, fitness advice has been one size fits all, the same 12-week programs, the same calorie targets, the same recovery timelines handed to everyone regardless of their body, of their history, of their goals. And we know intuitively, sorry guys if you weren't hearing me in the back because I wasn't holding this high enough. We know intuitively that that does not work. What we haven't had until now is a scalable way to do better. That's where our fitness feature comes in. We launched Fitness at Connect last year as one of the hero features of Oakley Meta Vanguards, our glasses that are performance-first AI built for athletes. Since then, we've seen real growth in how people use the feature. AI is transforming how we move, how we recover, how we train, and doing that in a way that no generic program ever could. It's learning from you. It's pulling in sensor data in real time to give you guidance that changes as you do. We know the value doesn't just come from metrics. It comes from actual insights. The value comes from what you do with those insights and when you do it. So today, we're going to talk about what's actually happening at the intersection of AI and fitness. Not the hype, but the real capabilities. What can AI do in a fitness context? Where can it deliver measurable results? And we'll talk about where the field is headed. Whether you're a builder, a researcher, or someone who just wants to understand how to improve your fitness goals, this conversation really matters. And no one understands our fitness feature better than Dan Churn. Dan is a product manager. Is he gonna come on soon, Darren?
Dan is popping on.
Dan is popping on, you guys. He'll be here in a second. Dan is a product manager on our Reality Labs team and is one of the leaders behind Meta's fitness feature. He's been at Meta for over 5 years, and his work has shaped our glasses and helped how we deliver real-time fitness engagement and how it continues to shape the sports-centric experiences that we're building next. Dan is absolutely the right person to talk to about where this is headed. So as soon as he jumps on, we'll get into it.
Dan is locked behind a wall with a password.
Oh,
We're
no.
sending Dan the password.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna riff. Good morning, how's everybody? So, yeah, just so you know, guys, I'm actually wearing, Ann Hobson mentioned earlier, the display glasses. That's what I'm wearing right now. So I've got my Meta Neural Band on, which I also work on, by the way. I also work on our EMG wrist products. So I've got this band on, and I am flipping through my script. I'm seeing my words. Sometimes my movement is not specific enough, and it's not moving as quickly as I want it to. But this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm giving this presentation this morning, which I think is pretty cool, right? Teleprompter, who doesn't want that? Dan! Did you hear all the amazing stuff I said about you a second ago?
No, I was trying to get the
I talked about
Sorry, you gotta repeat that.
terms, Dan. All right, so, of course. So I mentioned the fact that, like, you are the guy to talk to about fitness, and more than anyone, you have helped shape what this experience looks like for the company, what we've built up to this point, and what we're going to be doing going forward. So in plain terms, can you just tell these folks, what does our fitness feature actually do for someone who's wearing our glasses?
Yeah, so kind of today, the core loop is that if you've got a Garmin watch and wearing a pair of glasses, the risk is using the sensors to generate data from like heart rate, motion, etc., to kind of help inform users and improve their real-time experience during workouts and after workouts. So if you're familiar, we've launched a fitness AI product out in the market today. So the capabilities that you can ask questions about your data that you've hooked up to it via Garmin, Apple, Strava, or whatever. And then during the workout itself, you can also, mid-workout, ask classes in natural kind of language question to what's my heart rate zone today, kind of how am I doing compared to like last week's pace, and the model will ground your responses based on the data that's coming from the sensor data itself. So there's no kind of need for any screen interaction with the glasses. It keeps you in the moment. While you're on a run, during a bike workout, you'll be able to hear the responses, via voice through the glasses. So what makes this kind of like special is that it's a voice shortcut to the personalization layer. It kind of gives us a peek into the future. It's not going to, just read back the number to you, but also eventually contextualize against your data that's actually, live with you. And because it's on glasses, it helps keep your eyes on the road, or on the trail, or wherever you're at, and keeps you focused on the session itself, instead of having to constantly lift your watch up to see what's going on. So kind of a typical kind of like user journey, imagine you're mid-run, hands-free, and you can ask, how am I doing? What should I do to improve? That type of stuff. AI will then tell you your pace, heart rate zone, and whatever it is that you need to track against your goal for the workout.
Amazing. And what is it about fitness that makes this a good time for Meta to be exploring this vertical?
Yeah, so, I think health has always been, and fitness has always been an important part of wearables. So I think it's still going to be true even into the future. And fitness is one of the few use cases where, generally having that focus on like wherever you're at, whether it's on the road, in the gym, or wherever, is pretty useful. So I myself am a big cyclist, so I can kind of see like the value of being able to stay focused and safe on the road. And when your hands are occupied and you have to constantly glance down, instead you'd rather be like paying attention to the world around you. The glasses helps solve this problem for those users. Having the always-on AI, the mic and the speakers allows you to interact with AI, and then right now we're starting with being able to ask them an AI question to understand kind of your data and kind of how your workout is going. We can imagine a future where we continue to push deeper into that and build even deeper experiences for users there. So the other kind of key kind of aspect here is that it's not just about the glasses, but deep integration with platforms that people already use today: Garmin, Apple Health, Google Health, and Strava. And we're continuing to add the intelligence layer on top of the hardware and apps that are already in use. And once again, with the form factor combined with AI integration, we'll be able to bring kind of a new experience for users that isn't possible today with the phone in the watch.
Awesome, yeah. And for my next question, I've kind of seen a lot of these videos where people are like posting their workouts, and it's super cool. Like, go to YouTube, like Google it. It's really fun to watch. But for this group, can you describe a little bit, since we launched Fitness at Connect, what's the reception been like?
Yeah, it's been really great to see the engagement that people have with it. People aren't just trying it out, they're kind of really building into their workout routines, posting videos about their workouts, syncing their activities. I think one of the coolest features for me is just be able to see and overlay stats across your videos when you finish a bike ride. Yeah, they're asking about performance trends, being able to use voice to create custom workouts. And yeah, so I think the signal is definitely clear that people, when you give people kind of like guidance that's personalized in real time, and meets them where they're at, they use it.
Yeah, and that part's wild, like being able to actually see on your screen, kind of in real time, your stats changing as you're working out. It's super cool. So what does success look like for our fitness feature over the next year, would you say?
Yeah, so I think we're just starting out. Right now, I think a lot of the questions are more definitely Q&A based. And so what we want to do is continue to engage with users more deeply, right? So not did someone just try it once, but continue to bring people back to our devices and our wearables for all of the workouts, right? Not just for workouts, but also to become an integral part of things like the fitness planning. So we want to be a deeper part of people's training routines. We want our responses and our intelligence to get smarter over time, better personalization, better contextualization, understanding of where users are in the training cycle, and better understanding kind of their recovery and load. As probably a lot of you do work out, it's more than just showing up for the workout. There's a lot of kind of logistics and planning up front that happens before and afterwards. So we want to be able to get deeper into that space. The second layer is just like the ecosystem breadth. Right now we support Garmin, Apple, Google, and Strava. So we want to make these integrations richer, support more sport types, more workout types, more granular metrics, but also expand to other providers over time too. And the last thing, just like continued expansion of our services. So right now, it's primarily a voice-based experience on our glasses, but I think a natural extension is to want to be able to, extend this to also our display glasses in the future. And as we, develop more form factors, we'll be able to also add additional value beyond the voice capabilities. And then obviously, like there's a lot of fun that comes with this too. So we have the activity overlays for the photos and videos that capture during a workout, and we want to also be able to kind of lean into kind of like the community and social aspects that also come with the fitness experience as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, one thing I want to note is that, we're talking about fitness right now. And when she was up here, she mentioned health and how we're working on that. We're not the only ones working on that, obviously. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of companies are moving forward on health. Nutrition, we've already announced earlier this year in the spring that we're working on nutrition. And I do want to say, like, we're not rushing these things out. We're trying to be really thoughtful about them, trying to be really thoughtful about how people will engage with these different features, and also like how these features can work together, right? Like it's not about a siloed experience. It's about connecting all of these pieces so that you're getting access to a holistic experience that doesn't ignore what you had for breakfast when it's telling you what workout you should do in the afternoon, right? So I think that is a huge part of what we're trying to do here. So with that in mind, and with these amazing people here, Dan, tell us how developers and researchers can plug in and contribute to this.
Yeah, so the product is actively evolving where things are moving pretty fast here. I think probably most of you heard, since we've launched the wearables device access toolkit, it's been really cool seeing kind of what people have been building on top of that. There's a lot of, I think, really innovative and health and fitness ideas across our AI glasses. I'm especially keen on all the experiences that people are trying out to build on the display glasses. So we're really excited to see kind of the space grow and how people continue to push the boundaries. So yeah, I think it's just like keep exploring, keep building, use that developer toolkit to really kind of explore what would be possible with the wearables.
Great. And any parting comments on fitness? What's the one thing that you want this group to take away from this discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not just like the fitness feature. It's a really great, I think, starting point, and obviously a huge part of many people's lives. But I think it's a proof point of what we can kind of like get into in the future, and what Meta AI plus our wearables combination can create that no one else can. Every team that touches the health partnerships policy or the Meta AI features is all part of making this this vision that we're trying to achieve. So the more that people understand and support this, the faster we can deliver something that's like really, hopefully genuinely helpful and life-changing for people, helping people, not only get active, but ultimately be able to achieve the healthier outcomes that we want.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, achieving healthier outcomes. Thank you so much for getting up and participating at 6:45 in the morning. And thank you guys for listening to our presentation on health, on fitness.
Okay, thank you, Coy. We'll now move on, and Dan as well. Thank you for waking up so early, 6:30 in the morning, and you dialed in to join us. Can we move to the next slide, please? Because I have lost my clicker somewhere. Folks, I'm delighted to invite Marilyn Baker to the floor here to talk about how we are supporting the blind and low vision, or veterans who are blind and low vision. Thank you. Oh my gosh, with AI glasses, we launched an amazing program, and she's going to talk more about that. Marilyn? Oh shoot, this is Marshall's picture.
No, I will take Marshall's picture. I'm just sorry that she's going to be stuck with mine.
You're gonna go?
Oh, goodness. Well, good morning, everyone. I mean, it's so exciting to be here, and just congratulations to all the grant recipients. Oh, you please. You probably are, is it a green one?
Never going there.
There we go. Anyway, good morning. It's exciting to be here, and just congratulations to all the grant recipients here today. And you know, we're here to celebrate you, but we're also here to learn from each other about how AI glasses help solve real and everyday challenges in our lives. Okay, but I'm not going to start over because I'm sure my booming voice has like cleared the room. But anyway, as I mentioned, Meta recently announced that it was donating glasses, AI glasses, to all blinded veterans in America. And we estimate that number to be about 130,000 glasses. So we are actively working with distribution partners across the country to get that job done. And really, this program was set up to honor the men and women who have served our country with such distinction. And what I'd like to do now is introduce a video featuring Don Overton. Don Overton is a veteran of the Army 82nd Airborne Division who lost his sight in a bunker explosion during Operation Desert Storm. And it's just a very inspiring video, and he's going to share his story in his words. So do I need to push play?
Don't push the green button.
Big green button.
I'm a United States Army veteran, having served with the 82nd Airborne Division. When I lost my eyesight in Desert Storm from the bunker explosion, I also lost my independence. The moment I put on my Ray-Ban Meta glasses, I got my independence back. Hey Meta, read this letter.
Don, I wanted to personally thank you.
Hey Meta, where's the blue shirt?
That's the one.
I could go out to dinner with my wife and have a normal date night. Hey Meta, are there burgers on the menu? I'm excited for other veterans to discover them. Hey Meta, where's the flag?
It's just to the right of you.
To other veterans out there, Ray-Ban Meta glasses have changed my life and they can change yours.
It's just such an inspiring story. And so we're not only working with our distribution partners to distribute these glasses to blinded veterans across the country, but we're also helping to educate them on how to use their glasses so that they too can experience the independence that Don talks about in his video. So before I turn it over to my colleague Katie and to Colby, I just wanted to say two things. One, I think there are a couple grant recipients in the group that work with veterans, so we would welcome the opportunity to visit with you about how we can partner in distributing these glasses. And then also, if you know a blinded veteran, would encourage you to have them visit the Blinded Veterans Association website. It was up on the screen just earlier, but it's bva.org/glasses. So without further ado, Katie and Colby.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. And Colby, so great to get to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, really appreciate it.
Absolutely, I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So just by way of introduction, my name is Katie Watson-Jordan. I'm on the same team as Darren, which I'm very lucky to get to work with him on all sorts of things. And I am doing our program management for our donation of Ray-Ban Meta glasses to blind veterans in the US. So very excited to be talking to Colby about the work that ACB is doing, the work that your team is doing. Colby, do you mind doing a brief intro for us?
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Colby Garrison. I am the Accessibility Consulting and Compliance Services Coordinator for the American Council of the Blind. I am a short, tiny Caucasian woman, but C4 comes in small packages, don't forget it. And I am wearing a blue dress with some white on it, and I also have my black Labrador guide dog, Miss Marty Party, who is laying at my feet. So excited to be here today.
Colby, don't forget you're also rocking your Kylie glasses. They look fantastic.
I do. I tried these on last night for the first time and went, I have to have a pair of these. Feel great on my face.
They look awesome. And so, Colby, your organization, ACB, American Council for the Blind, is one of our flagship partners on our distribution program of the Ray-Ban Meta glasses to blind veterans. And I just wanted to ask you, so what do you think is the sort of impact of this program for ACB members?
I know we had an event yesterday in St. Louis in conjunction with our annual national conference and convention where blinded veterans could get their glasses if they were in the area and wanted to pick those up. But I really think that the Meta Ray-Bans bring back, Dawn talked about independence in this video, but that is very true, but control. As a person who has grown up with no vision, control is something that we don't have a lot of. So much of the information that you encounter on a daily basis as you go through your day is visual. And so being able to have instant access to that visual information brings a level of control that we haven't had before. And then the hands-free access is something that I know I utilize all the time because one of my hands is always occupied with a guide dog harness. And then, whether I'm zipping through an airport or trying to carry groceries or whatever it might be. So that really that hands-free access it makes such a difference.
I'm so glad to hear it. I think that some of the things that you mentioned there too, things like going through the airport and the grocery store, I think Dawn mentions these as well, where it's those little moments of independence and control that have the kind of outsized impact, and it's really cool to hear how you're using the glasses.
Yes.
I'd love to hear more about too, kind of what do you think that the broader impact is of having a device like this for the blind community? So, you're saying the control elements of it. Are there certain prompts and things like that, or newer features that have come out recently that are particularly helpful?
I am very interested to see how the describe mode develops. I really like that and the detailed responses. I am somebody who wants all the detail. So no, you can never have too much information in my opinion, but really being able to sort of customize, what kind of information you want, and using toggles to do that is huge because then it's individualized because, somebody who has some vision is probably not going to want the level of detail that I might. So really just being able to utilize those features and just knowing what's around you. I know for me personally, I use the video calling feature all the time to connect with either Be My Eyes or a trusted friend or family member to help me navigate like an unfamiliar environment, or if I'm zooming through an airport or whatever it might be. So there's just so much that the glasses can help you do. And I mean, it could be something as simple as, okay, I've taken my guide dog out, I'm at a hotel, I don't quite know where the door is. Okay, now I found the door, now where do I go to put the key? To get back in, if it's one of those. So just really being able to use the glasses, even if you have to spin around in a circle for, 5 minutes to find what you're looking for. But being able to do that brings back just such a level of independence that we haven't had before. I know, now if I'm doing something at home and I need, visual help, and I'll, either video call my mom, she's like, put your glasses on. It's better when, I can see better. And I'm like, okay.
That's awesome, I love that. Well, I know, Colby, you all are doing such really incredible work through ACB, and I know you've got a grant now for some really exciting work. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that work?
Yes, so we are so honored to be receiving one of the grants, and what we are planning to do with that grant is to find experts in the blind and low vision community to demonstrate what they are doing with the Meta Ray-Ban glasses through video content, audio content, and then share that with the ACB community at large and the blind and low vision community at large. And through that, we will have office hours where people can come and ask any questions that they have, get if they're running into an issue, and then also just getting people educated on how to use the glasses. What features can they use? How do they get them set up? Those types of things. So we're really excited to begin that process starting in September, I think.
That's so exciting. I'm excited to watch y'all's progress too and see how we can be supportive as y'all move forward. So one of the things that I want to talk to to this group about as well is, so the way that we are doing this distribution program is that we're doing a series of events with donations and training, like we did at ACB yesterday, International Conference and Convention. And then we're also working with nonprofits across the country to sort of figure out how they can receive bulk donations and distribute those to their members. And so Marilyn mentioned that there's a couple of y'all who are already working with veterans, but if you're working in the blind community more broadly, we would love to talk about how we might be able to partner and either get these glasses out to your members or help you at some of the events that you're doing where you might have an eligible population present, or just get feedback from you on good ways that we can get these glasses out into the community and make sure that folks have access both to the device and the training necessary. And Colby, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you also is on that training component, and sort of hear your thoughts on, what do you think is a helpful way to approach training when you're first getting your glasses on and you don't know yet kind of what world these open. What are some of the things that you wish you had known the first time you put on your glasses that you know now?
Ooh, I think just knowing what prompts are helpful to give the AI to get the most information, and then also, just what all they can do. I've learned just a lot through trial and error, and that's obviously going to be, as things evolve, but even just to watch where the glasses were, a year and a half ago when I got my first set to now, they've gotten so much better, and it just, it's a tool that, I always want to have in the toolbox. I think you can never have too many tools at your disposal to use when you're blind or low vision, and so this is, one of those tools, and I love that we will be able to share that, with the blind and low vision community at large, and just give them another tool that will enhance their independence and impact their lives in ways that they may not know about yet.
That's so helpful. Thank you so much, Colby. I really appreciate your time and your insights. And folks, if you have any questions about ACB's work, please come find Colby. If you have questions about the program and how we might be able to partner on distributing these glasses to blind veterans in your community, please come talk to me, or please come talk to my colleague, Marilyn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Marilyn, Colby, and Katie. There we go. We, as an interim here, have a quick video to show you. A quick video to the next slide here to talk about America's Workforce Academy.
People are building things in America again, which calls for the best of America, our people. Introducing America's Workforce Academy, built by Meta. Paid training, a job, and a path to America's future. The future is for everyone.
Please join me in welcoming Marshall and David to the stage to talk more about America's Workforce Academy and how Navigator AI is supporting America's workforce.
Thank you all so much. I'm Marshall Moore. I work at Meta in our DC office, and I'm very proud to be a part of America's Workforce Academy. And one of the coolest parts of America's Workforce Academy is that we are partnering with great organizations like Navigate AI. So today we have David Sinsky here, who's one of the co-founders of Navigate AI, and we're excited to talk to you about what we're doing together in partnership. And before that, just a quick overview of America's Workforce Academy. We hope some of you are familiar because we are so proud of this program. We are working to change the game for construction workers, fiber technicians, any of those who want to get into that field and don't quite know how to do so. We have thousands and thousands of applicants for this program right now, and it's a 4-week program, and you are paid while you train, and there's a guaranteed job. So we're really flipping the script on the previous ways of train and pray that you get a job. We're giving you that job up front and helping you train.
So we're very excited about this program. Would love to talk to any of you interested in hearing more after this. But what we want to dive into today is how we're working with Navigate AI. So, David, I'll turn it over to you because it's so cool what his company is doing. We have students in the classroom right now in Indianapolis, Indiana, working with glasses that David's team has put together, and they're training these students in how to use them for construction-ready jobs. So David, why don't you tell us a bit about how you started Navigate AI and what you all are on a mission to do?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and partnering with Meta and America's Workforce Academy. It's such an important thing for our country and the workforce that we have. So stepping back, what is Navigate AI? We're a company that's bringing together technologists and operators to build AI co-pilots for field work. You know, our thesis, which is fairly uncontroversial at this point, is that every job family is going to have an AI co-pilot that makes their work lower friction, more accurate, and overall more meaningful. We're really starting to see this thesis play out already today with a lot of white-collar desk jobs. So software engineers, lawyers, accountants, all have AI co-pilots that help them with their work and hopefully help them do the parts of their work, spend time on the parts of their work that is actually the most meaningful. But I think we're much earlier in what does that mean to build AI co-pilots for field workers. And so our team actually came from a lot of our core team came from a company called Open Door, which was a real estate technology company that was buying, renovating, and selling thousands of homes every month. And as a technology company, we were really excited about the ability to bring technology to bear on this question. How do you take construction projects, renovation projects, and kind of push forward when we think of this iron triangle of speed, cost, and quality? We were doing this in kind of the late 20-teens, and frankly, didn't make a lot of progress on that front. We used technology to help people buy homes, we used technology to help people sell homes. But when we're trying to use technology in terms of how do we actually make this physical work happen better, we really struggled. I mean, we didn't really accomplish as much as we wanted. And then right around 2022, 2023, there was kind of these three trends that started coming together. The first was obviously LLMs, the ability to kind of reason in a really kind of unstructured way. But kind of similar to that was the explosion of vision models and the ability to really understand kind of the real world around you. And finally, obviously, wearables, the ability to be able to kind of capture the sight, sound, and motion of a construction project while your hands are still free. And so as we saw these three technologies coming together, we really saw an opportunity to start building this co-pilot for field work that could actually help drive speed, cost, and quality throughout these different projects. But kind of circling back to why we're here, as we started talking to customers about how we can help them with their businesses, what we heard is that actually their number one problem is their workforce. And really the aging of the workforce. And what you see in a lot of these construction trades is a really aging workforce where, as one manager put it, for every 5 people who retire, I can only figure out how to hire 2 more people into this field. And that's, putting to the side all this experience, knowledge, and judgment that lives in those kind of more experienced people who are retiring. And most of that isn't written down, it's not in the manual, it's not in the onboarding book. And so not only do you have kind of this numbers game of you have more people leaving than are coming into these trades, but also those people who are leaving have this really scarce knowledge about how to do these jobs well. And so we really started to then invest in, we think of as upskilling. How do we help these new, not only bring new people into these fields, but help these people learn from these experienced people who are kind of on the verge of retiring and really institutionalize that knowledge and help it not take 5, 10, 15 years to gain that knowledge, but how can we give that knowledge, give that expertise, give that productivity to these new people entering the field?
It's awesome. Love what you all are doing, and there's so many similarities to why we built America's Workforce Academy. So maybe to help this crowd understand, give us some real life examples of how these glasses are being used with our students right now or more broadly in the field.
Yeah, so we think that, so I'll maybe start with kind of what we're doing in the classroom and then extend it to the field. So we think there's 3 things that are really important about learning in general, but especially on-the-job learning. And one of the things we kind of always talk about in here is that the best form of learning is on-the-job learning. And if you think of so many different places when you're in a classroom, there's almost always this separation, this dichotomy between doing the work and learning how to do the work. If you're reading a textbook, that's not doing the work. If you're listening to a lecture, that's not doing the work. And one of the things that we are so excited about the form factor of classes and other wearables is it's one of the first times where, especially for kind of physical manual work, you can actually learn and do the work at the same time, which we think is by far the most effective form of learning. I think there's kind of 3 key points there. One is that it's hands-free. And again, if you're doing physical work, any other type of learning that doesn't allow you to be using your hands, it means that you can't be learning while you're actually doing the work. The second that's actually really critical is kind of the egocentrism, the fact that the camera is where your eye is, and so it's always seeing what you're seeing. It's not seeing kind of a distorted view of what you're seeing. And then the third is kind of voice as kind of that activation technology that lets you actually communicate back and forth and make it a two-way street the way that learning happens the best. And I think what is really interesting about kind of these trades is that learning on the job isn't just kind of a buzzword. It's actually built into how these workforces are organized. So most of these trades, like electricians, et cetera, you actually have these kind of foundational layers. There's an apprenticeship time period, there's what's called a journeyman time period, a foreman, and then a supervisor. And so you kind of gradually go up this scale, and the whole idea is that you're constantly learning on that job. You're learning from those people who are more experienced than you. And so all of this kind of the same ideas that we're seeing in the classroom of how do we help people learn on the job, learn while their hands are working, learn from people who are more experienced than them, is actually what's built into these labor forces, where your first few years on the job as an apprentice, the name means you're still learning. Even as a journeyman, you're learning from those more experienced than you. And then if you think about it from a supervisor or senior leader's perspective, they're actually in many ways taking that corollary role of the teacher, where their job is, yes, to make sure that the projects are done on time with high quality, but their job is also to upskill those people who are working with them and working underneath them. And so it's great to see that, especially in these roles, that kind of the way that this works in a classroom is actually really parallel to how this works in the field.
That's awesome. One of the things I found cool is watching this happen at our America's Workforce Academy sites is the feedback reports. So the students use the glasses all day, then they go home, have dinner, and then later in the night they get an email with a report on everything they've done, and they have live feedback from hours earlier. Super cool. And so thinking about this more broadly, America's Workforce Academy is all about building talent pipelines. We're very proud of the variety of students we have coming through our doors, and most of them are career changers who have not been in this industry at all before. And many of them are also haven't had experience with technology like this. But how do you think wearable devices like this and what you all are doing can really support opening talent pipelines and uplifting communities more broadly?
Yeah, I think a common theme that we're seeing here is this idea that there's really scarce expertise. And that expertise is actually at risk of diminishing. And so again, whether it's a skilled worker with 20 years of experience on the job, or just a teacher at a place like America's Workforce Academy. If you think of a classic classroom has one teacher and 20 students, that means that 95% of the time that teacher can't be directly engaging with that student. And so how do you both, one, give kind of that teacher the ability to understand that other 95% of that student's time, give them feedback, not just anecdotally, the 5% of the time where they're able to bring individual attention, but really at the end of the day, see a highlight reel of everything that student has done. What have they done well? What do they need improvement on? And be able to actually give them holistic feedback throughout the day. And then second, we think of kind of these wearables and AI as something like a teaching assistant, right? So if you think of a teaching assistant in a kind of traditional classroom, the idea is how do you provide more personalized attention when that teacher or that professor can't be the one giving it. And so we think this really allows for engagement in that 95% of the time, both from a teacher's perspective, that they get much more visibility so they can give much better feedback, but also from a student's perspective where they can still receive feedback, they can still be engaged and not be limited by this kind of scarcity of expertise that really is at risk of being problematic here.
Totally. Another cool thing that I saw happen in the classroom last week is we brought the glasses out and we said, okay, students, we're going to start using these glasses. You don't have to. and about half the class said, I don't know about that. I've never seen this, what is this? And the next day, all but one was like, I'm in. The students loved it. They just needed to adjust to it, so that was very, very cool to see. Okay, so wrapping up, you guys are doing a lot in this industry and field. What's something you're most excited about, or you think will be coming down the pike and people will love?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I would say today is definitely a challenge for us is that a lot of field work, a lot of construction work happens in low connectivity areas. And so a lot of kind of AI today, a lot of devices kind of assume high levels of connectivity. Again, a lot of co-pilots are built for people in desk jobs with fiber connections. And so as we think about the future of co-pilots for people not behind a desk, for people in the field, we know that kind of dealing with no and low connectivity environments is a key point there, and we're kind of just on the cusp of kind of smaller models, expert models, on-device models, being able to provide similar levels of intelligence as those that you can get in the cloud. And we think that's going to be a really big game changer for people who work in the field.
It's awesome. It's very exciting. Lots to be excited about. Well, thank you, David, and thank you all for being here. If anyone has questions on AWA or Navigate AI, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Marshall. We will have a panel later on today where we'll talk about the role of education and workforce development using our AI glasses. But now I'm excited to turn the conversation to infrastructure that powers a lot of the AI glasses in this room, in our society, through. Joe Pellegrino has, as I mentioned before, has flown all the way from Idaho from our data center in Boise to talk about how AI glasses are being used to build but also maintain our data centers in the state itself. So please join me in welcoming Joe Pellegrino. That's okay.
A little anticlimactic, Sam. What do we do?
Click the button. There we go.
Perfect.
On the stage.
Well, good morning. My name is Joe Pellegrino. First thing I want to say is congrats and welcome. The work that you guys are doing, grant winners and non-grant winners, is stuff that we at data centers are itching to use. So just realize that we're very excited, we're very inspired, and we just are really just glad that you guys are all able to make it here and we're all able to collaborate. So, my name is Joe Pellegrino, like I said. So I'm a mechanical subject matter expert based out of the Kuna, Idaho data center. I recently moved from Brooklyn to this data center, Boise, Idaho. I know it's crazy. Most people are like, ew. But yeah, so what I do there is basically I'm responsible for any infrastructure that relates to cooling, heating, going into electrical controls. We work and collaborate with those departments as well, but we're responsible for keeping the lights on and keeping the cooling and the data racks going. So I want to go into my background. I'll preface this, I hate talking about myself, but it's very important that I kind of, in this speech, go into how I got to where I am today. So I became an engineer. I went to SUNY Maritime College out here in the Bronx. I was a very curious young man, and I wanted to build my career as having a very diverse understanding of the entire global infrastructure. So I began with sailing on ships as an engineer. Here I'm actually on a ship, cable laying ship, doing offshore construction, and a lot of the projects we worked on were actually laying fiber optic cable for Facebook at the time. So I'm also in the Navy Reserve, which there are plenty of use cases for the military. I can get into that later. And then from there, when I went on ashore and on land, I worked in power generation, working on power plants up to 1,000 megawatts, coming in as a field engineer, overhauling them around the country. So then I went from there, I actually came back to New York City and worked at NYU New England Health. So anyone who's local knows they have a ton of buildings, and they own kind of half of Manhattan right now with real estate. But I worked as a facilities operations manager, managing multiple buildings that were also in construction. So what I'm here to really talk about today is obviously, we're using the glasses at our data center right now. So I started a pilot program just local to K&D, which is the Kuna Data Center in Idaho, where we started just trying to use the basic features of the wearables. So for the first use case, so I talked to a lot of you last night, and a lot of you guys had a lot of the same ideas that we were having, that we need. It's just a matter of kind of tweaking the software to integrate to what we need. So the first use case was hand-free video calling. So internally, just the other day, we had an issue in the field. So the way the data center is set up is you have field operators 24/7 responding to any alarm, any event going on. Then you have a critical operations manager who is the next point of contact to escalate things. And then from there, you would call someone like myself, subject matter expert, who we're just kind of day workers, 9 to 5, but we're supposed to hone in on specific pieces of equipment and know it inside and out like the back of our hand. And then from there, we're also supported by global engineers. These are people with PEs, and they're overseeing the entire IDC, which is infrastructure data center at Meta. So what we are doing is, we had an issue in the field. The operator got to kind of a problem. He had the glasses on. He then called his manager. Manager hit a roadblock, called myself. I hit a roadblock, called the global engineers. Just like that, we're instantly connected across the country with common video call, conference call, and we are all troubleshooting and able to make decisions and collaborate on the spot like that to help that person, the first person point of view. So this is, in any critical infrastructure, it's kind of some decisions on works in construction, works in trades, they know it can be like life or death sometimes. So having that instant collaboration lets it save work. So going back to my background, on the right here, this is during an offshore construction project, specifically for Facebook, where we're picking up the fiber optic cable off the bottom of the ocean, tying it off to a buoy to go to the next section of fiber optic cable. So you guys can kind of see probably with this picture how dangerous this is. You're off the side of the ship, really high swells, 2 people, they're all in their PPE harnesses and everything, and it's a pretty nerve-wracking place to be, naturally. Imagine you in this position and you're tying a knot onto this buoy, something you've done 1,000 times, but you panic. So what do? Hey Meta, call John Doe. Here's his manager. He said, okay, let me walk you through this. Take your right hand, take your left hand, tie it this way, boom, done. On top of that, let's say you're in a new operation or you're not familiar with the procedure, you could just say, hey Meta, how do I go about tying this knot? So things like that go a long way with just having that knowledge be passed on to the actual person doing the work. So for the second use case that we're exploring is any type of facility, any type of construction project, there's some type of asset management, documentation, work order system. And anyone here who's worked with tradespeople, they know they hate documentation. Got a couple laughs, which means it's true.
Yes.
I myself is one of those people. So what if we are able to, in real time, take a picture, leave a note, and just all of a sudden, it just creates that work order, documenting everything that we needed. And then we just go back to our computer at the end of the day as we're decompressing, and yep, this looks all right. Quick, easy, simple. Rather than having taking pictures with your iPhone, uploading them, doing that whole thing. Although to a lot of tech people here that doesn't seem like that intensive, what's important to note is for people like in the trades. So going back to my background again, these 2 pictures were actually taken, that's my hand right there, taking apart this pump. So when I was a merchant marine, working on these ships, we were lucky, or not so lucky, if we had some type of manual on the ship. So I worked on ships that were 20, 30 years old. This pump was the first time I took it apart. The fluid that it moves is actually caustic. That's why I'm wearing those gloves. So I had to mark, if you see those yellow paint marks, every single time when I took one component off to make sure that when I was going to put it back together, it was going in the right order. When I was doing that, took my glove off, took a picture, wrote a little note, and then when I went to go put it back together, I had to kind of write up a whole procedure to make sure I was going to put it back together right. Because one wrong thing could just completely throw off the balance of that pump. So, the key benefit to this is that I'm now working safer because I have the glasses and I don't have to take my gloves off, not touching anything, or just say, hey, Meta, take a picture, leave this note. And it's documenting everything one step away. Over here, this is when I worked in the field on a gas turbine. That's not myself there, but it's a millwright, a union worker. And he was basically responsible for doing a quality control check on every single bolt here, marked off. So that represents torque specs. So you have to tighten the bolts to a certain torque. And he needs to check and make sure every single one, take pictures. But you can see the position he was in, very, very dangerous. You know, he's inside the turbine with his gloves, all his PPE, and he had to take off his glove every single time and take a photo to verify this was actually torqued. So for the third and final case, and can you guys just take a look? Well, before I go into that, what we named this was One Facility, One Brain, Infinite Lobes. Naming convention is not credit to me, it's credit to Ryan Steiger, electrical subject matter expert that I work with. He's on paternity leave or else he would be here. But if you see all these, you see all those names? You guys actually see that? Because you're not supposed to. And that's the point.
Very tiny.
Who's part of an organization where there's about an infinite number of departments? Everyone, especially people in Meta. So imagine if you were able to just take every department folder that you've created, that you learned about in your department, just click and drag. So when I worked at NYU, that was my file explorer. I didn't have a Mac, but for people with Macs. And it took years to gain that information, you know, just having those conversations. What are the codes and regulations? But imagine a new facility, a new data center in our case, copy and paste it, put it into one AI tool, and that's your brain. And now you have a starting point. So if I'm in the field, and I pass by, I'm brand new to the job, don't know anything about what fluid's being pumped, and there's a pinhole leak in a pipe. And all I know is that it says this is technical water. What is that? It's spraying on my arm. Is this dangerous? You can go in and just say, hey Meta, I just got technical water on my arm with a safety data sheet. Pull the safety data sheet and tell me what are the consequences of getting this on my skin. And then I can tell you, you need to go to the hospital right now. So we work, in all facilities, we work with dangerous equipment, dangerous chemicals, dangerous fluids all day, every day. So again, going back to the key benefit of safety. So, to sum this all up, so I think I got, is that a minute? The why. I think it's always important to sum up meetings, presentations, everything with why we do this. So, going back to all the use cases, it didn't just apply to the data centers at Meta. From my background, again, that's why I brought it up, is that while I was out in the field, while I was on those ships, while I was in these facilities here in New York City, I wish I had this wearable technology. And prior to coming Meta, I was just like, oh, they're definitely using it, they're data centers. There's definitely has to be something. But we weren't. So I created the pilot program out of Kuna, Idaho, which now is going to be scaled very soon with the app that we're developing to the entire IDC, which is thousands of employees. What is important to take away from this is that the people here, and I know there's a number of you who I talked to last night who have these use cases, it doesn't just apply to the data centers. I can say firsthand, you will impact the way the world is built with the software you're developing. And I think that's pretty cool to say. So, thank you. Tomorrow I'll be having an informal 45-minute session with Nate and Mike, who are awesome. They are product designers helping us develop the applications, so we can go more in detail to that tomorrow.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. Can I just get a show of hands who related to Joe's use cases that he presented? That is 80% of the room. Maybe 90% of the room. Can I get a show of hands as to who's interested in attending Joe's workshop tomorrow? Joe, you have a very popular workshop. A lot of work ahead of you. Well, I'm really excited to welcome Sophie and Lana to the stage. They will be talking about how our AI glasses could be used in cultural institutions. I love traveling. I've been to many museums, and one of my tools that I use every single time when I'm there are these AI glasses, especially ones that have signs that are not in English. Sometimes say, hey, Meta, look and translate this sign into English, or tell me more about an artist, a piece of work, a piece of history. And I'll continue to have that conversation. I think Sophie and Lana will continue to lay the groundwork for where this technology could go, so please join me in welcoming Sophie and Lana to the stage.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Let me start. Sure. I am Sophie. I'm on the wearables content team. I am around, I like to round up, so I say I'm 5'3". I'm 5'3", I'm Asian, I'm wearing a white dress and the long blue sleeves. My icon picture though, this one is, I love this one. If you've ever seen Turning Red, the animated cartoon film, I am the Turning Red panda because that is how I de-stress. So just another good visual for folks.
Hi everyone, my name is Lana Ivory. I lead new consumer experiences for our AI glasses in the travel and venue sector. I am about 5'6", we'll also round up. I am white with blonde hair. I am also wearing a white button-down shirt with blue jeans. So we're here today to talk with you guys about how we are really reimagining Meta AI glasses in cultural institutions. So we're here to talk about Meta Mode. It's really the AI glasses for next-gen tour guides. Today, if you were to really look at what the top experiences are in these tour guides, a lot of them are expensive, they sometimes can take a long time, they're not personalized, and a lot of times they're also not very inclusive. So Sophie and I have really anchored on this question: what if every institution could offer world-class, personalized, accessible guide for the cost of just a pair of glasses? So we really, after going through this, we really thought about 3 challenges that we are facing, and a lot of the cultural institutions are facing as well. One of which is engagement drop. So as you know, there's obviously, Gen Zs are about 30 years old. We actually knew that a lot of the institutions that we are seeing are also seeing a younger demographic to going to the museums. Everyone in the Gen Z cohort is really looking for a lot of these IRL experiences. So there is a split between an older generation and a younger generation. So right now we are seeing that with the traditional clunky audio tour guides, they're not something that the Gen Z cohort or the digitally native cohort is really excited about. So this is one thing that we are trying to fix. How can we introduce a more dynamic, interactive media format that keeps people engaged? Another one that we had touched on was the accessibility gap. So a lot of them do not have seamless integrated support, which leaves visually hearing or physically impaired visitors with a compromised experience. We want to make sure that when you are going into these institutions, that you are going to have the best experience possible, regardless of anything that comes up. So another one is we have a one-size-fits-all approach currently. So traditional pre-recorded audio tracks lacks personalization, pacing control, and dynamic conversational elements that are tailored to the user. So our question is really, how can we use the glasses to get a richer, deeper understanding of the information that's already in front of you, whether it's a painting, whether it's a landmark. So this is really the 3 challenges that we are trying to fix. So how we use the glasses and how you can get a deeper understanding of what we're trying to do in the cultural landscape. One of which is really this idea of contextual storytelling. So we want to make sure that when you are going into a museum, that your experience can really just be triggered just by seeing what you were exactly looking at. So if you're looking at a painting, what will the glasses automatically tell you without having to do much? Another one is personalized learning. This is really gaining the deeper understanding with meta AI. So really getting that deeper level of understanding, not only with contextual storytelling can it give you rich information, but the personalized learning, you can ask questions that actually matter to you. Hands-free access. This is a huge one for us, and this is actually something that has come up a ton with cultural institutions, but it's this idea, how can we not force visitors to look at their phone? This is something I think the glasses do a great job at. We want to make sure that if you are going into a cultural institution, that you are not just staring at your phone the whole time, that you're not just staring at a placard the whole time, and then by the time you read the placard, they're already kicking you off to the next one. So we do want to make sure that whatever we are creating doesn't have to have a phone-first experience. And then multilingual support. So this is another thing. It's really about just localized translation, which helps break down any immediate language barriers.
And we also know that this opportunity for an audio guide or just a guide in general really applies to places outside of cultural institutions, right? I often think about, when I'm walking around New York City and I want to learn a little bit more of a landmark in front of me, or I think the first time I came to New York, I thought the Chrysler Building was the Empire State Building. Would have been really great if I had AI glasses to help correct me. And so just talking through some other examples of use cases as well as locations where we really think this type of technology would really benefit the person that's visiting. So one idea is high school student field trips. So how can we engage the next generation? Exactly like what Lana had said, each generation grows up a little bit more digitally native than the previous one. And so starting to find different ways to engage them, replacing kind of old placards, or even if there isn't an opportunity for you to have some sort of physical sign where there's information displayed, how can we really help people learn more about the places that they're visiting? So offering a new compelling way for the next generation to really learn and keep them engaged, so they're actively asking questions and really sparking that curiosity. Accessibility first experiences as well. We know that we really want to empower the blind and low vision community. And so museums typically come up as a place where there's an opportunity to provide rich, real-time visual descriptions for blind and low vision visitors, but this could apply to other locations as well. So, and in addition to this, users can also ask conversational questions to learn more about what's in front of them. So instead of your typical, this is a description of what someone's wearing, what are some follow-up ways where someone can really get to learn a little bit more about what that person is like, their emotions, etc. And the curious tourist, so unlocking global heritage with live hands-free translation. So one thing, I'm sure we've all experienced this, when you're walking around, there's always something that kind of gravitates your attention, something that you're curious about. And we already know today that a lot of AI glasses wearers will say, hey, Meta, take a picture, tell me what I'm looking at. So there's already this curiosity to learn more about the environment that you're surrounded in. So how can we really add and build on top of that? So in this example, visitors can receive deep contextual historical facts, turning any institution into a fully localized expert guided tour. And this, just to kind of round this out, thinking through the different locations, I know we really started with cultural institutions, but we think there's a really big opportunity for historic sites and tourism, especially where you don't really want to build into the kind of the natural environment, this is a really great way for people to still learn more about the sites that they're seeing without us having to add any placards to it. Travel destinations, so when you're going out and about in the world around you, how can you actually learn more? And to, one thing that Lana had mentioned too, not staring down at your phone, but looking up and around in the world around you, really making sure that the technology isn't coming between you and the environment. And then venues and stadiums, we know that this is a really exciting opportunity as well. So if you're going to a sports game, let's say I don't know a lot about, I didn't know a lot about football before the World Cup. So when I went to the game, it was really nice to have my glasses because I could ask, tell me a little bit more about what's going on, who are some of the players, why is someone getting a yellow card? So just some fun ways in which it can really help people learn a little bit more about whatever location they're going to in whatever context. Yeah, we're excited to build the future together, and we just really wanted to share some of our initial thinking around how AI glasses can help cultural institutions, and then eventually how we can scale this to more places. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie and Lana. Can I just get a show of hands from those in the crowd who are building or interested in the cultural industry, tourism? Sophie and Lana, take a good look. These are folks who are interested. So, amazing. Now, folks, we have reached the moment that you've all been waiting for this morning. We are taking a break. There is coffee, there are snacks, there are the restrooms. We'll take a 20-minute break. I know this has 10 minutes, or 15, but let's take a bit longer. And for those who are doing lightning talks, I've received your slides. I will incorporate them to ensure that you have those ready, but please do mingle, and thank you again to all the speakers who presented. And music.
Okay guys, we're taking a break and we'll come back. See you.